Okay. And we are live, everybody. Starting a little bit earlier. Looks like the stream was a little congested earlier. Hopefully it will be okay now. There was some drop frames earlier. Just let me know if it's coming across well for you. It's a little bit after, actually coming up to 9 p.m., which is the normal time we do our streams. And we do this usually the very first Tuesday of a given month. That's why I do my streaming. I'm getting a little notice that my stream quality is a little bit on the sketchy side tonight, so I do apologize for that. So we're starting off a brand new stream tonight at 9 p.m. We're going to be doing a 30-minute stream. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Apologies for that. Drink for tonight's choice, we're doing something a little different, a little bit of Yingling Hershey chocolate porter. I'm not a big fan of beer. I like basically 3 types of beer. This one's not too bad. Again, I'm not a big beer drinker. I like Angry Orchard. A couple of the flavors of Angry Orchard I like, but I also like sour beers. Anything that's a sour beer, I really, really dig. I like them a lot. Let me make sure my stream as far as audio looks good. Let me move the mic a little bit closer so you can hear me. That would be a good thing. So not too bad. It does have a chocolatey taste to it. Do I recommend it? It's okay. It's something a little bit different. So at the top of the hour, I want to thank everybody who comes into the stream tonight. Returning faces, of course, Jackie's always in here. Thank you very much, Jackie. Followed me for a while now on my channel. We're going to be talking about recent pickups. We're talking about the fiasco that was Funko VirtualCon 2021, which was absolutely atrocious. If you guys have not yet heard about it, it's a nice little story. And I want to just get your guys' opinion, and we'll talk about this near the end of the stream. What were your worst Comic-Con experiences? I'll give you both mine and my wife's, so you can kind of understand where our perspectives are. So it's very interesting when we talk about this stuff. And it looks like the stream has now stabilized. It's going back and forth. It's going between good and bad. So there might be a little hiccup in the stream. I do apologize. Sometime soon, I haven't figured out when, but I will be upgrading my computer. I cannot even get Windows 11 on this PC. It's using a multi-core. I think it's a quad core, but it's not strong enough to support Windows 11. And again, Windows 11 is brand new, but I definitely need to upgrade my PC. I want to do that. Just haven't got around to it yet. So recent pickups. Yeah, close to 6 years now, Jackie. Yeah, we found me from P2's site, if I remember correctly, where you came across me. So let's talk about the recent pickups. We're talking an action figure, because I did a lot of stuff I talked about for the Gotchaman Pops. I did a whole video about that. I did all my stuff on Galaxy's Edge. I won't bore you guys with that stuff. I've already done that stuff. If you haven't seen those videos, definitely look at it on the channel. You can find it on if you look through my video catalog. I think I checked now. I'm over 700 videos on my catalog now for close to over 5 years now, because we did my 5th year anniversary in July. So I've been doing YouTube now for a while now, so yeah. So let's talk first. We'll talk action figures first. I did pick up a new action figure. You guys may know that I talked a little bit about it. I didn't do a video review about this guy, but it was the Unrivaled series for AEW. This is the Kenny Omega version. This is the first series, the first wave of Kenny Omega. He comes with 2 alternate hands. This and the jacket here is removable. This sleeve guard can come off. There are some issues with this figure per se. Specifically, when you take the coat off, the buck doesn't really look correct. But the face sculpt looks pretty much like Kenny Omega. This is what he wore. I think it was for maybe Double or Nothing. I believe it was Double or Nothing, one of their big pay-per-views. This is the outfit he wore. He was considered a good guy then, a face. He has the one-wing angel sort of apparel here, right here, the outfit for the one wing. He always has this sort of Sephiroth inspiration. Even the finisher is the one-winged angel, which is, of course, Sephiroth Singh from Final Fantasy VII. So, again, not a bad figure. All things considered, it looks good. There are issues with how the buck works with when you put the kind of the clothing on him, the I guess you call it maybe like a robe, kind of like a robe. I don't know what you would call it. It would a trench coat. It's sort of like a trench coat. That's what I'm looking for. It's like a partial trench coat with one arm, and then this arm's open here. So we have this version of Kenny Omega. Recently, I picked up another version of Kenny Omega, which I haven't reviewed yet. It's still in packaging. And it's this version right here. So the hair is a little bit different. You can see the head sculpt a little bit different. He does come with, again, multiple hands. He has the finger bang sort of right there with that hand. These are all the characters that were available in that wave. Kenny, Cody, Sammy, Matt Hardy, and you had Proud and Powerful, Santino, and Ortiz in this wave. You have his little signature for Kenny Omega's signature here. And one thing I've noticed for the Unrivaled figures, they've been showing up in both Walmarts and in Targets, which is kind of surprising. Walmart, I know they had a deal with Walmart for these figures, and they're extremely hard to find. They've been coming a lot more in now recently. Over the last year or so, the last few waves have come in. But this is considered Series 4, if you're curious which series he's in. This is the Series 4 Kenny Omega. So this is kind of when he was I guess you would call him when he was sort of the bad guy, turning to be a heel. But I haven't reviewed him. I'm not sure if I'm going to. I haven't picked up a lot of wrestling figures. The only one I would probably pick up, the only other two figures I really want to get my hands on would be the Lucha Brothers. Those Phoenix and Penta would be the only ones I really want to get, and I know they're available in 2 different waves. I haven't decided yet which versions of the outfits I want to go with. I'm not quite sure. I haven't nailed down what version I want to get my hands on yet, so that's the only real action figure we picked up. Pardon me. But no Pops, because I did pick up Pops. I picked up, again, the Gotchaman Pops, but they were already reviewed, so I'm not going to talk about them here. I don't want to do that. Next thing I want to talk about is some equipment I picked up. I decided a couple things I had to do. One, I unfortunately broke my turntable that I use. I do my reviews on that black turntable you might have seen. There's a lot of it was a lot of fingerprints on it. There was a lot of gunk on it. Even though you clean it, it still looked kind of shiny. I didn't really like it, and unfortunately, I dropped and broke it. So I decided to pick myself up a new turntable, and it's going to look like this. It's about the same size as my last turntable. It's maybe about an inch smaller. It doesn't make a lot of noise. You can hear it right here. It doesn't make a whole lot of noise. It's moving about that fast, so I'm okay with the speed. And it has sort of a felt lining on the inside, so it's not going to be shiny. The only concern I would have is, can stuff stand on it? I don't really think it's going to be a problem. It may attract a lot of dust and dirt, so I might have to clean it with a lint roller every once in a while to make sure it's still showing, still looks good on camera. So this was not too expensive. I think it was about $25 for this thing. Again, not too noisy. It can go both left and right. It doesn't move super fast, and I'm okay with that. As far you can increase the speed of it, make it move faster, and I'm fine with that. I have no issues. So it's not a bad little turntable. I wanted something a little different. Again, I kept the same color, this black turntable. I was tempted to get a white one. The only reason I didn't want to get the white one was I was concerned about the glare coming off of the white color. It might be too much glare. I decided that'd be a bad idea to steer clear of that. So let me just real quickly here refresh the stream. Make sure everything looks good. I think everything's looking good right now. Let me know, Jackie, if everything looks good, please. I think everything is fine as far as the specifications of the stream. Apologies for interrupting everything here and kind of messing up the flow. Excellent. Perfect. Make sure we're good here. We're good here. I know the health. I know the stream's a little goofy right now, and I'm fine with that. Cool beans. Next thing I picked up was something long coming I needed to get my hands on. And sometimes you may notice it in some of the older videos, even some of the recent videos, that my camera angle sometimes might be a little tilted to the side. I had a tripod when I first started the stream, now 5.5 years ago, that I've always used. And it started recently to kind of fall apart. And I had to like kind of jury-rig the legs. I'd have to move the legs up higher to get the camera to pitch to the right perspective. So I decided to take a dive and buy myself a new tripod. So what makes this one a little bit different than the last one I had, I'll scoot back a little bit, is because my normal tripod had 2 extensions on the legs. This one I can extend down to 3 levels. I also have a pitch here, and I can tilt it if I loosen this right here. here. I think it's right there. Actually, no, it's right here, I believe. I think it's right here. I can pitch it, and I can turn the camera sideways this way. So if I wanted to kind of diagonal it for whatever reason, I can. I can then lock it in place. I can lock this down so it'll be straight. So it's a much more, I won't say the word sturdier tripod, but it's a newer tripod. And I've already messed around with it a little bit. I know that the quality should be good. It should be decent quality. It should hold up. I mean, it feels like it's good quality compared to the last tripod. The last tripod was very similar in design and scope to this one. It's very, very similar. Take a look here, make sure everything's kosher. Yeah, everything's good to go, making sure there's no breakage here. That might be an issue here. I don't know. Okay, well, let's get rid of this real quick. Hold on. Some gunk in here. There was some flash in here. If you're not familiar with the term flash, it's some material that was left in here that I have removed. So that's going to be good now because it was there was a piece of plastic jammed in, and it was causing some clearance issues with this piece here. So I'm happy. I thought it broke, but it wasn't. It was just some flash material. So the top of it would look like this. And the idea is that you place your camera. I'll kind of do it real quick here for you guys so you can see. Let me set it up here so you can see kind of what I'm talking about. It's done on a hot swappable plate. So you basically would just pop this plate out here. You unhook this plate and you can pull the entire camera out. So this is how I normally would shoot it in this sort of position. So, but it would be taller. I can extend, if I pop a leg here, I can extend the leg down. So brand new tripod. Just want to show it off a little bit so you can see what it would look like. You guys will never see this portion of filming as far as what the equipment is, but this is, again, the camera I use to do all my shooting on. This camera is over 5 years old. This is first and the only camera I've ever purchased for the channel, and it still works. I mean, I have no issues with this camera. It's a Canon. It's 57 times advanced zoom. It's a Vixia HFR 700. So if you're asking, Rook, what equipment you use, that's what this one is. This tripod's called Maxtreme. I got it on Amazon. I want to say 25, 30 bucks, roughly, give or take. So it wasn't too expensive, too pricey for the tripod. So I'm happy to get this. I actually definitely needed a better tripod. Mine was absolutely falling apart. I had tons and tons of problems with it. And again, I just pulled the plate off so you can see that. It basically was on a quick hot release plate, so you can just pop it off. So if you had other pieces of equipment, you can do that. It also came with another mount plate that would hold a cell phone. So if I wanted to put my cell phone on something like this to shoot, I can do that as well. Next, and kind of one of the important pieces we're going to talk about, again, drink of choice, we're doing some Yingling Hershey version chocolate, was me switching my subscription box. I mentioned that on my Geek Fuel box unboxing it was September's box in October. The box came late for about 3 weeks. I talked about maybe doing a video and saying why did I get rid of Geek Fuel? What was the reason when I decided to ditch them? You may be asking yourself, why did I go that road? Rook, why did you get rid of Geek Fuel? There were a couple reasons why. That last box was very, very late for 3 weeks. As I mentioned before, shipping channels, they say that they're stuffed. Things are delayed. I kind of find it a little weird after, the pandemic's going on for now almost 2 years now. We're still coming through the backside of it right now, again. And for some weird reason, that box, and only that box, and even the box I'm going to be talking about shortly, was delayed as well. And that, to me, starts off very, very poorly when a box is delayed for, I think it was for 2 weeks. I just got the box about a week ago, and I'm going to be doing it this coming Thursday. And you might be asking yourself, well, Rook, who did you go with? And I went back with somebody that I originally used when I first started the channel. And I stopped using them mainly because they were getting complacent when their business model. It's not Bambox. Again, I got rid of Geek Fuel. Collector's Case is gone. They stopped doing business for whatever reason. Nerdblock disappeared. They went to bankruptcy. They had shady business practices. So I went back to something I started with. As I mentioned, I used them when I first started the channel. And I decided to go back with Loot Crate. And it's not because it's Loot Crate, of course, the biggest name in subscription boxes, or subscription box videos, or subscription models. That's what I'm looking for. But I decided to go with Loot Crate because it looks like they changed some stuff up. Again, one of my biggest gripes I have with subscription boxes is that we always get T-shirts. I say it until I'm blue in the face. I keep saying it over and over again. Give us something else besides wearables. I want a different thing. I've gotten boxes in the past where I've gotten throws. This Star Wars blanket you see here, that came out of a subscription box. I have that one. I have a Power Rangers one. I have beanies. I have hats. I have sunglasses. I have socks. But always, every single box, I get shirts. And shirts are okay. I'm not ragging on shirts. I'm not, saying they're a bad thing. They're cool. I like shirts. I just don't like shirts every month. I like to get something different. And I want to use this word because I use it a lot. And I think it's important, is the word unique. I want a unique experience when I crack open one of these boxes. I want something different. I don't want the same old thing every single month. I want something different. And that's why I was getting tired. Really, that's the underlying reason of Geek Fuel, because we were getting 4 items in a box every single month. If they would have given me 3 items in a box but increased the value of all 3 items, I don't think I would be angry. Having more items in the box does not equate to more value. Putting more items in the box, if you put crappy items in the box, you're putting more things that are garbage. And they're just filler. I don't need that. I don't want that. So I went back to Loot Crate to try them out. One thing I made a very poignant point when I do a subscription box, especially if I get a brand new box like I did with Z-Box, which was horrible. Do not buy that box. If you're looking to purchase Z-Box in the UK, steer clear of that box. If you watch this video tomorrow, you watch it a week from now, you watch it a year from now, steer clear of Z-Box. Do not buy any boxes from them. They're not a good company. But I went back, as I was saying, I went to the idea of I want to kind of do like you start a new job. And what I mean by that is a job, if you start a brand new job, they put you in a 90-day probationary period. And that means they want to see how you work for 90 days. That's how I treat subscription boxes. I put them on a 3-month basis to see how the boxes come out. If you can't keep my attention for 3 months and you have crappy boxes 3 months, you're done. I don't play any games like that. I give them a 90-day probationary period. If they do not work well, if the boxes are constantly late, if we keep getting the same redundant crap, I will drop them. My concern is if I drop Loot Crate, where do I go? That's a big question. What is really left? All the big subscription box companies have either closed up shop, changed what they've done, or don't do business the way that you would think they would do business anymore. And it's just a damn shame. So this coming Thursday, I'm probably not going to, as I talked enough about why I got rid of Geek Fuel. So this Thursday, we're cracking into Loot Crate's box. This is a September box. We're doing it in October. I believe it was, yeah. So we're in November now. I believe this box came in the tail end of, I think it should have been September's box in October, but it came in late, so it came at the end of October for the beginning of November. So we're in November now. So just keep that in mind. This is, I believe, September's box. Don't check me on that. I'll do my research before I crack into it as far as what this box is. I think it's the September box. Don't hold me to it. So that being said, all stuff out of the way that I wanted to talk about. We only had Jackie in. Which is fine. You can check out this stream, of course, when it goes on video on demand. Usually it has about a 24-hour turnaround time where this will be a live or viewable stream. You'll probably be able to get it through the email link that you would have gotten. If you have gotten an alert, you could see it that way. Or when this goes up for the VOD, when it goes on video on demand, about 24 hours. I want to say about 11, 12 tomorrow is when this stream will go as a viewable video. It takes that long just because I don't have a huge subscriber base. That's what this channel is, unfortunately. I've talked about it many times. I do want to grow the channel, but that is for another stream or another video. So last thing I wanted to talk about, of course, let's talk about the next thing was FunkoCon or VirtualCon 2021. I rambled on enough. VirtualCon 2021, what happened? Funko had instead of having San Diego Comic-Con, or going to rather New York Comic-Con, that's would have been this month or the end of October, they decided to have their VirtualCon. And their VirtualCon, basically, they didn't want to go to New York Comic-Con, so they did this VirtualCon. And they would put up their special items that you'd normally be able to get, and they had a new queuing system in place where you would not go for lotto entry. Normally they would send out an email blast, excuse me, and they would say, hey, enter in this if you've part of the Funko's website for X number of months. You can get into the lotto. If you get picked, you get first crack at the items. This is basically to prevent botting. That's what the whole idea is. And people who would scammers, flippers, anything along those lines. That's the idea of this. So for Virtual Con, the idea they had now is that everybody was able to purchase the product as soon as the product went live. That was the idea. And in theory, it sounded good. Question mark, exclamation, air quotes. It sounded good, but it kind of fell flat badly. So unfortunately, this went live on a Friday when I was on my 1-year wedding anniversary with my wife, and we both kind of jumped into the virtual queue when it told you to. I think it was at noon. We both got into the queue line. I was in about 5 minutes in. She was in 4 minutes in. Then instead of the queue decreasing as people were purchasing things, the queue increased in time. So my 4 or 5 minutes turned into 6 minutes and 7 minutes. And hers was about a minute or two behind mine. My queue got up to one point up to about 20 to 25 minutes. And again, these are people that I got in as soon as it turned noon. And you couldn't get into the waiting room, until noon. That's when they opened it. So if you try to get in early, the page wasn't refreshing until 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 9 p.m. Pacific Time. So it would not allow anyone into the website to start purchasing anything until noon or 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. This is all 12 noon for me, 9 a.m. California time or Pacific Standard Time. So that was what happened there. Good beer. So I'm in about 20 minutes in. Again, the time has incrementally increased. So it went from 5 minutes to 7 minutes to 10 minutes, back to 9 minutes, back to 8 minutes to 11 minutes. It was jumping all over the place. At one time, it went up to 20, 25 minutes, and the only item I wanted to purchase, one item, only item, and my wife got in before I did, and she went in after I did. So I went in before her. She was able to get into the room to purchase before I was able to get in there, which didn't make any sense. So I got in there about a minute or two before she did, yet she got to check out to get to the products at least a minute or two before I did, even though I was in front of her technically in the queue. So it didn't make any sense. After that being said, the only item I wanted, one item, and one item only, and that was the Dungeons & Dragons Tiamat, the 5-headed dragon, probably one of the most iconic characters in D&D, probably next to Dritz, next to Elemenster, next to the real popular characters in D&D. Even if you're not a big fan of D&D now, like what D&D is now, or what D&D was, you probably would have known it from your growing up as a kid from the D&D cartoon, the 5-headed dragon Tiamat. Not pronounced Tiamat, it's pronounced Tiamat. That's the name of the dragon. That's all I wanted, was that one item. As soon as I went to to look at it, it was sold out. Gone. As soon as I got into the room and looked, everything was sold out. A good portion of the product was already gone. Again, I got in there as soon as you can click the button to enter. I was refreshing. As soon as noon happened, I refreshed the page and I was in the queuing to get in. It was horrible. A horrible disaster. I know a lot of YouTubers that are Funko collectors that are much bigger than me went off on them. They went off on them big time. Funko was a flat-out disaster, and I will call them out on this crap. I will call someone out on their bullshit. A spade is a spade is a spade. If someone does a good job, I'll say someone did a great job. If someone did a crappy job, I'll tell you straight to your face, your stuff was trash. It was completely garbage what they did. It was horrible, the experience we had. However, I was able to pick up three Tiamats from GameStop. I'm still waiting for those to be shipped out. I think to ship out, next week. I'm probably going to be putting up at least 2 of them on eBay. If you're interested, hit me up at my email at rookgeekgoodness@gmail.com. If you're interested in one of those, we can work a deal. I'm probably going to be going to be putting up on eBay, I think about $50, maybe $55, possibly $60 for that is what I'm probably putting up for, which is basically the going rate of what those products are. They're not easy to come by. They sell normally for about $25. They are a little bit harder to find. They are convention exclusives, so they are a little bit more expensive, and I'm not trying to price gouge anybody. As far as also other item for Funko is that they've increased the pricing by $1 for standard Funko Pop standard size. So your standard Funko boxes, like, let me grab this guy right here. Perfect. Your typical 3.75 Funko figure, like something like this, would increase by $1, hawked up because of shipping problems and quantity issues, is what I think Funko's reasoning is there. So I want to let you know that the VirtualCon 2021 on my 1 year wedding anniversary was absolutely abysmal. Just hot trash. It was bad. It was a dumpster fire. The drizzlings, if you know what I mean. I don't the drizzling, drizzling shirts. That's kind of what it was. Last thing I want to talk about real quick before we sign off for the night. Again, we only had Jackie come in, and that's okay. I have no problem with that. Hopefully you guys check it on the video on demand. You guys know I will just talk just because I can. Is what if you had one, what was your worst Comic Con experience? I thought that because the virtual con experience was horrible, I said, you know what? Let's transition that over to Comic Con. I can give you one for myself, and I can give you one based on what I talked to my wife about. In 2014, 2015, I get my dates correct, I went to a Comic Con in Miami called SuperCon. I've talked about SuperCon many times. I've shot many SuperCon videos. But when SuperCon was kind of in its infancy, when it was trying to get its legs, they had a convention in Miami. And at this, I can't remember what hotel it was, but it was a very large hotel. And the biggest problem I had with that con was trying to get into the con. And what I mean by that is as soon as you try to park, you park in an area that was right next to a hotel. And literally had to go through the lobby of the hotel, walk through the hotel, literally through a hotel, like a Hilton, or I can't remember which hotel it was, but like a big hotel chain, walk through a strip mall. It's literally an indoor strip mall, literally for 15 minutes walking through this big strip mall, to walk around the back edge of the convention center to get into it. That was the only way to really get into the con. Could you park, near that in another parking lot? You probably could. But most people, by police, by traffic, and how they're moving people over, is to go that way. That was the way to get into the con. It was horrible. It was like I said, 15, 20-minute walk to get into them. Even like MegaCon, when we went this year, you knew what you were getting into. Meaning they had different wings that were part of the con. They would have trams that would take you, buses that would take you. So they had their stuff together. They knew what they were doing, and they had over 100,000 people during a pandemic, mind you, at a con. And that was one other piece that we kind of talked about, myself and my wife, is that the MegaCon experience was good. It was her very first con experience for MegaCon, a massive con compared to SuperCon. It's the only thing she had to judge by. And literally on Saturday, we were walking like this between people. It was completely like you were pancaked in, no social distancing, nothing along those lines. Again, during a pandemic with over 100,000 people in attendance, which I think was more people than prior years of MegaCon. Because remember, MegaCon wasn't running a con for close to 2 years. So they pushed it back in 2019, they pushed it back in 2020, we had it in 2021. So that's the reason I think people were just anti for a con. And the last thing, which my wife and I talked about, was an issue for her, was that when she went to SuperCon and we first started dating in 2017, the biggest issue she had, actually, excuse me, 2017, the biggest issue she had was that she went to her first SuperCon, but she was dressed up. She had an outfit she put together for Harley Quinn. And there was a lot of people when we were walking around with her costume, and she didn't know how to put she never did cosplay. She was interested in going to a Comic-Con before, but she had no one to go with. She was scared of going. There was a lot of intimidation to go to a con, and thinking when I was talking to her about this, maybe something to do in a later video of how to prepare for your first Comic-Con. What do you do? How do you handle going to a con? How should you prepare? What should you look for? How to handle this kind of big grandiose thing. If you've never done it before, it's a big daunting task, and a lot of people usually don't go to many conventions in a given year because it is a real both physical and psychological mental experience. But for her, she dressed up as Harley Quinn, and she put together an outfit. It wasn't, to me, I liked the outfit. She pieced it together based on images she saw on TV. She really didn't look at the comics because she wasn't into the comics. I kind of brought her into my world, so to speak. And literally, she walked into one of the areas, and they had other women dressed as Harley kind of laughing and pointing at her. So it was a lot of body shaming. There was a lot of just costume shaming. It was really horrible and kind of, it pulled you out out of the experience. It was just a bad way to treat somebody, and that's something that I kind of heard it when it happened to where I didn't really think people would do that. It was kind of disrespectful and just downright rude. This is supposed to be a very cool community, supposed to be a very open community for people that are trying to, play their favorite roles or cosplay. She had no clue what cosplaying was all about. She didn't know the ins or outs of it, how to build costumes. This is her very first convention experience ever, to be just shamed and just to be ousted, basically is what I'm looking at. It was horrible what happened to her. It's a bad experience. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But let me know in the comments. Again, we didn't have a lot of people in the stream tonight, and that's fine. But let me know on this, when this video goes on Video on Demand, in the comment section, what was your very worst Comic-Con experience? Please hit me up in the comments. As always, I want to thank everybody who watches my content, who stayed, who watches this again on the Video on Demand. I do hope that some people will definitely pick it up, watch this content. I hope we'll get some likes. Hopefully people will enjoy it. Again, I do this the first Tuesday of a given month. That video that would normally would show up, I push it aside and do the stream instead. Have I thought about doing more streams? I did streams usually once a week. I pushed it back. I didn't want to do streams once a week just because I don't want to put a thing of trying to always show up into the stream and chat with me. You don't have to do that. Come and enjoy my streams if you like it. If you don't, that's fine too. So I want to thank, again, everyone who watches this content. I'm going to be cutting the stream off. We are at 9:30. Again, I want to thank everybody who does watch the content. Stick forth with me. We're going to be doing some great stuff in the near future. Again, we'll be cutting it in 3, 2, 1. Take care, guys. See you in the next video.